So Alex, you're back.
Yes, I'm back.
Right. Okay. So this situation, so this kind of growth in production, you know, it is really amazing. And, this is the global total, world total production, as we call it. But by the way, the here, this is a corn. This is a huge drop like this. This like this, and then also like this. So this is a global production. Do you know? Can you guess what happened really? Back in this 1983 or like 88, things like that. And in the case of wheat, there's a big drop here. Big drop. Big drop here, and just continuously. But in the case of rice, there are some just drop like this, but the nothing like corn or wheat. They're very stable. Why do you think? What's going on? Rice is quite stable.
Like for the rice, because most of the production is done using irrigation system. Irrigation. Then the water supply for it is okay. Because like corn, they rely sometimes on natural, and they sometimes also there is what we call there is an outbreak of disease which affects sometimes maize much than rice. Like armyworm.
Yeah.
Yeah, which destroy sometimes much of the crop.
And in the case of rice, there are no such thing.
They are there, but they still not much rice.
Irrigated.
Yeah, because they're able to control, because the production is controlled. Like
okay,
right. Yeah.
Your grade is 10%. Well, the major thing is, do you still remember I mentioned who is the biggest producer of corn?
US,
United States. It's quite well advanced. Okay. And in the case of wheat, of course, well, actually, this one is the United States grows just about 40% of the total production in the world. 40%, that's a quite big amount, right? And in the case of wheat, of course, China is the biggest producer, but so as the rice. China is the biggest producer. And again, here, there's a big, kind of bumpy things. And other major producers, the United States, Canada, Australia, and France, things like that. Okay? They are very well advanced country. So as the corn, United States, very well advanced country. And Canada is included too, In the case of rice, who is the major producer besides China? China is the biggest. And the second?
India.
China, India, and then the third is
Thailand or US? Between Thailand.
No, US is rather small. The Indonesia. And then Bangladesh is quite big too. And then Thailand and things like that. Well, all these countries, are they rich countries or poor countries, rather, relatively speaking?
Most of them, like Bangladesh and Indonesia, they are poor. But
Yeah.
India is somehow middle, because
Some middle. But
yeah,
when it comes to the per capita income, then very
yeah,
low.
yeah.
Even in China, it's
Yeah,
much lower than Japanese example.
because
Much lower
because
than the
because
United.
of the total population, they are
Yes, yes,
overpopulated.
right.
Yes. Yeah.
So the rice is grown in rather poor countries, okay, and then corn and wheat are produced rather in rich countries, okay.
Yes.
And in the rich countries like the United States, they did the diversion program. When the price is low, and then they put subsidy and then tell the farmers not to grow, or reduce production. In a way, they call it set aside program, reduction program. Okay, that is what this kind of things showing. It's kind of big drop showing. Okay, in the case of rice, poor countries cannot do that because they don't have money to pay to the producers. So then, this when the price is down, they cut down the production. But in the case of rice, even if price is down, they cannot do that. And rather just slowly, just people just stay, growing less when the prices are down. And not all of a sudden, just kind of big, quick within the year. So that's why the rice production is rather smooth and then increasing gradually. But in the case of corn, this kind of drop is very big, but because of that economic power, the production has been increasing so fast. So isn't that interesting to see?
It's interesting.
Yeah. And in the case of soybeans, their production is growing so fast, and well, the biggest producer is still the United States, but they didn't have much, policies, programs for the soybeans in the United States, so it's rather smooth. And sometimes the United States had some program to reduce, but nowadays, this is really increasing. This is due to United States increased so fast, but the Brazil and then Argentina and the Paraguay, they increased their soybean production really fast, during the last 2 decades. So that's why it is increasing so fast. But anyway, so the supply is changing like that. The kind of low prices are quite detrimental for the producers. Okay. So next slides. This one is the shift in supply curves. Yesterday, I mentioned that the supply curve shifts outwards because of the technology things, right? So this is the case. Outward shift in the rice supply curve in Arkansas. Arkansas is the largest rice producing state in the United States. California is another state producing rice, and Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, and then that's Missouri, the rice producing states, but Arkansas is the biggest. So So we did study it, okay? This is we published back in 1999. And so this is the supply curve here for the 1961 through 76, just about 15 years, okay? And then 77 to 81 is shift to the right. And then 82 to 90 is furthermore, and then furthermore afterwards, okay? And these black points are the average prices back then, okay? So basically, the price is coming down. They are real prices, okay? They're coming down, but still they're producing a lot more than ever before, okay? And the supply curve, comparing this one and this is standing rather steep. This is much flatter, okay? Yeah. So supply curve is shifting outwards, but not only shifting outwards, but also getting flatter, okay? So what does this mean? Is the next one. So this is a flat from this S, supply curve S, to a supply curve S prime, okay? The before and the now, before it was steeper, okay? And it is flatter, okay? And just imagine the demand was here, and then demand just shifted with some reason, okay? Shift outward. So they need more. But in that case, with that steeper supply curve, the equilibrium is over here. So in this equilibrium, price just increased this much, and then production increased this much. But with the flatter situation, their increase, the price just increased only this much smaller than this. And then instead, production increased this much bigger than this, right? So the technology advancement with the flatter supply curve is just like that. The adjustment is very fast, and the price movement is rather small. Isn't that good for the consumers?
It's good for consumer.
Huh?
Good for consumer because the supply is now shifting to outward, and there will be more supply for consumer. It will be good for the consumer, but bad for the supply, the producers.
Well, in a way, but the supply curve is showing the production cost, below this line. It's a production cost. So with the flatter one, the production cost is rather smaller than before. So it's okay for the producers, and it's much more benefitable for the consumers, as you mentioned. You're right. So that's something to do with the advancement of the what they say, yeah. Anyway, and okay, so I just want to use the pointer. Screen, pointer, here, there's a pointer, okay? So we are trying to, maybe, not excuse me. human being has been working, very hard, and mankind is trying to push the supply curve outwards and also flatter, make the supply curve flatter. And well, this one is not working so good. I don't like that. Okay, this one is better. Okay, so outwards and then flatter is what the mankind is doing. Okay,
Yeah.
right. Now, this is the evolution of global average yields, rice, wheat, corn, and soybeans. Okay, and in the case of corn, so nowadays, I want you to pay attention. This is the time low prices. Okay, this is the time for the higher prices. Well, later on, even right now with the higher prices. And in the case of low prices period, it does not increase much, right?
Yeah.
And then here, increasing really fast, everything increasing. In the case of wheat, it's quite good. And so as the soybeans. So, this kind of the monetary impact is very, very big. The market power is quite important. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll show more in numbers. Okay. The global growth rates of population and the grain during the 2006 and 2014. This is the price hike period. Okay. And we are checking the population and the rice, wheat, corn, and soybeans. In the case of population, during that period, how much increased? Well, the population increased a little bit over 10% from 2006 to 2014. Okay.
Yeah.
This, very prices very high, right? And then rice increased 14.7%. In the case of wheat, 22%. Corn, 50%. It's just amazing. And soybean, just like corn, but they are much faster than population growth rate, right? So in this world, with that higher prices, we get more food. We get more food. Although the consumption is, very many places, including ethanol production. But anyway, this food has been increased a lot with the higher prices. And actually, this is the number in 2014. The population in the world is 7.3 billion, you know that. And then it's close to 500 million. This is more than 1 billion, things like that, okay? Oh, by the way, this Y is a yield. Yield increases 10%, 17%, 17%, 9%. So the area increased, the difference between the two. See? So, area expanded quite a lot. They expanded even in African countries. You can see with that our homepage data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So even after 2014, the population just growing 4.6, and the rice increase is rather small, but the wheat, just the same as population, and then corn more than population rate, and then soybeans much greater than any other things. Okay, and then the price really increased the over 2006. So prices are this much higher. You understand?
Yes.
So production growth rates per year got doubled, and for rice, wheat, corn during the price hike of the previous 10 years. So the price hike is very important for the for agriculture. Certainly, because the market price is just like the farmer's salary. Market price go up, their income go up. So certainly they response to that change in prices so fast, particularly when the prices go up so much and so fast, then producers just respond so fast, so much.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the same everywhere. Even in the United States, American farmers same. Even in Japan, Japanese farmers same. Chinese, then the Ugandans, everywhere, that's the same. Their farmer's mind is the same. Well, only farmer's mind. What about your mind? What about my mind? We are basically the same.
Yeah.
We're the same. Okay. Now, so the power of money and the power of price to the farmers. So we understand this situation.
Yes.
And Bible says, don't love money. That's true. By the way, my religion is Christianity. And but love your neighbors. Yeah, you know that.
Yes.
Many people, even the non-Christian people, still know this kind of.
Yeah.
Particularly this part. Love your neighbors. Don't love money. Well, maybe some religion don't say that. But in the case of Bible, they don't love money, but love your neighbor. Okay. However, Bible does not say money is not important, but Bible indicates, does not say, indicates money is very, very important. So I think it is quite important to know about this one. But these those numbers indicates these numbers indicates people naturally reacting to the change in prices all over the world. So this is what we really need to know about this one. Well, I reported this one in some academic conference, and academic conference, but they are not economists, but natural scientists.
Yeah.
They said, "Is that true?" I don't think so. We don't think so. Natural scientists, they don't care about money. Well, that's not quite true. But they don't pay attention to this kind of aspects. But even natural scientists, they need money for research, you know. So they're spending more money than us, you know. We economists, we're spending a little bit of research money, but natural scientists, they got a lot of money. And they still don't understand this kind of mechanism. You know, we have to argue a lot. So for the future, what do you think? If, you know, price go up again more, you know, right now it's not as much as, you know, 2008, but the price is quite high relative to around 2000 or even before. And if the prices go up, then what happened, do you think?
So as the price go up, also production might increase. Because farmers,
yes.
everybody want to get much money. The farmers like.
Yeah, I agree with you. And therefore, the first situation, I mean, where is it? This one. What do you think? If the price go up, and then that means people have a difficulty to buy.
Yes, in sample, people might face food crisis because not everybody will be able to afford.
And so what is important for the food crisis? You know, maybe the price go up, then we have more production. Yeah, this is what we agree.
Yeah.
But some poor people may have a difficulty to get food.
Yes.
Well, in African countries, you know, there are interesting things occur. The prices got so high, and it is interesting. When the prices go up, then like United States, they used to provide the food to those poor countries. But when the price go up, they don't do that as much.
Yeah.
Did you know that? It's so expensive, so they cannot do that.
For sure, it is expensive because to supply.
So in the African countries, you know, they got the problem, but what they try to do is they're working by themselves. They're trying to grow food in their backyards. You know, the more and more people doing that back then. So that kind of activities also occur. That also will help the you know, global total production increase.
Yeah, but the challenge now, because there is some climatic situation, it is affecting now production.
Yeah. So that's the situation. Okay, and and now this is the yields, you know, yields and rice in Japan, US, China, Vietnam, and Thailand, and Africa. Okay, this is in the case of rice. Okay, and this is same for other crops too, but this is a example from the rice. Okay, Japan's yield per hectare was, you know, 3.5 in the 1960. Okay, and then increased And at the time, it is the largest among these countries. Okay, but nowadays, you know, the United States is the highest for the yields. They got just about 6 tons per hectare. This is, by the way, the milled rice, not the paddy rice. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this is the situation for the Japan. Japan just just got flat during the last maybe close to 2 decades, and it's 5 tons. And this is the one I mentioned, 1993, we got the crop failure. So average is very low. But next year, it got really high. And after the crop failure, what happens in terms of market price?
Yes. The price will go automatically high.
High after that, yes. So the farmers, Japanese farmers responded, and then the yield got so high. This is a record. See, at the time, it is a record high. And then afterwards, the prices coming down, and then the yields just got down too. But with that gradual technology improvement, it just reached the 5 tons level. 5 tons level, but not much, because the Japanese prices, they're not fluctuate so much. But look at China situation. It's just amazing. It's almost as much as Japan now. Back then, this is just a little bit over 1 ton. So this one tells you, if you really make big efforts, the people can do that.
Yeah.
So in this situation, I'm very much impressed by China. Yeah. And their economic growth rate is very, very high too. Although again, I mentioned the per capita income is much smaller than what we have in Japan. But in comparison to 30 years ago, they're growing really, really fast. Okay? And in the case of Vietnam, okay, it is rather not growing, and it dropped. This kind of things, well, why did they start growing after that? What do you think?
Maybe there is improvement now in the technology, maybe the farming system. Yeah, so that we adopted, improve.
Yes, improve. Yes, yeah. I agree with you. But there is one thing we should not forget for the history in Vietnam. That's the hint.
It's 1970. The bomb.
Huh?
The bomb. There was conflict in 1970. The Vietnam War.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. You're very good. Very good. And yes, they finished Vietnam War. Okay, that was, I think, 1978 or something like that. And until then, they're just fighting with each other. It's just chaotic inside the country. But after they got internal war, then they just concentrate on the production, on the agriculture. And then it's really fast. Yeah. And Vietnam is just a rice exporter now. exporting, and that's the third largest. And so once you stop fighting internally, then you can do that. What's the situation in Africa? It's growing some, but it's still this situation. You know, in the case of Thailand, okay, there is no domestic fighting in the case of Thailand, but they have such a huge land, so you know, they are rather slow, but gradually increasing, gradually increasing. But in the case of Africa, they're sometimes coming down, sway, and what about the situation in African countries for the domestic internal fighting and stuff?
Yeah, but one of the major challenges in Africa is also policy, because the agriculture policy are not favoring the farmers. Like in the Asian country, the government at least do support sometimes the farmers.
Okay.
Yeah, but in Africa, most of the farmers just rely on, if like government introduce things like fertilizers, those who are not the farmers, instead they will take the fertilizers for them. Those who are in the government, they will keep it for them. They don't give to the beneficiary who are supposed to get the subsidy, like if the fertilizer is supposed to be on subsidies to farmers, but it will not reach there. And the seed which is supposed to be distributed early before the planting season start,
I see.
sometimes it will give and late. So the policy, agriculture policy in Africa is one of the factors sometimes leading to poor production.
Okay.
Yeah, and Africa rely mostly on artificial. They rely on rainfall. They don't practice much irrigation. Only there are few countries which do practice irrigation system. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I think those things something to do with the some internal kind of fighting with each other. Not really war, but the that some parties don't want to do that in that area, segregate the certain areas and stuff, because of the political fighting.
Yes.
I think those things have to be improved. And once you improve that kind of, bad things, bad policies, then suddenly, it is just like Vietnam, or it can
like
be
China, like even
yes, that is a possibility. And we did the survey. I visited in African countries, and if there is a good, situation, environmental situation, then you can grow really high yields, just like this, So all you need is those, the peaceful, the good policy situation without fighting, And I just want to just take a look at the situation we are looking at before. Which one was that? The statistics we are looking at earlier. Oh yeah, here, okay. Excuse me. Oops. Okay. Okay. So yeah. You can see these statistics, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's look at the country. Well, now peaceful country which is established peace. Mozambique.
Yeah.
Let's look at the
But
what?
Mozambique, Tanzania, maybe? Tanzania. Maybe.
Tanzania. Yeah, we'll carry it to Tanzania. Let's look at the Mozambique. Let's see a production. Okay. Not much for the. This is a wheat. Let's look at the rice. Yeah, there is, the production has been increasing. Do they produce corn? Let's look at corn too. Oh yeah, corn. Yeah, they're growing much more. I don't know what happened in this period. Okay, let's look at Tanzania. Where is Tanzania? Tanzania over here. Oh yeah, see, peaceful country, and in the case of rice, oh,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the which one is your country?
Mine is, I doubt it is not there. Like in South Sudan is not the list.
Oh yeah, from the South Sudan. Yeah, no data, right?
The mostly maybe Sudan
So,
is.
yeah, we may have yeah, we should have Sudan. Yeah, Sudan. Yeah, in the total data. This is rice. Yeah. Maybe we don't have data here.
Yeah.
And in the case of corn, no data. Do you want to see any other country? Just to look at together.
Okay. Yeah, we can look for other countries. Okay.
Okay. So that's the situation, and anyway, this kind of peace is a very important factor. The important factor. So the important. So I think some area like Egypt, they're relatively speaking, in the case of Egypt, this is a peaceful country, as one country. So their rice yield is rather high. I don't have data in here, but certainly those statistics data we have. So the global prospect point of view, that those peace is a very important factor for the food supply and the demand in any country. And even if Japan, if we ever had a war and things like that, then our yields would drop drastically.
Yeah.
So that kind of things, keep that in mind. Okay. And today I just prepare maybe we just stop here, and then I just provide this time for your questions or whatever you have. Ask questions. Question time next a few minutes.
ask about climate change. Or,
Climate change.
yeah, it's a drastically serious problem in Eastern Africa. Like
Oh, there's a climate change influence there.
Yeah, it is almost most of African country. There's issue of climate change. Like of recently, this Angola, Namibia. They are facing
Yes, yes.
some water shortages, and also East Africa region. There is no, because this is supposed to be a rainy season, but people are not. There is no raining there yet, so it is like a dry season. So it is like becoming a dry spell. Hope leading maybe next year it will be a farming, because production is not going to be much this year.
Okay. Well, interestingly, my some of the presentation, particularly this one, was that I presented at the conference of the climate change. Okay, so they are really surprised to see my report, my presentation, because the global situation got influenced by the climate change so much, but these prices, market prices, are much more powerful than climate change. But I don't say climate change is not important. Yeah, it is important. We have climate change, the influence in Japan, and one time it was warming so much. It is still warmer than ever before, and it is affected the rice so badly. The quality got dropped, so badly. So what did they do? Well, this is now the natural scientist comes in. The breeder came in, and then they tried to develop a new variety, which is strongly against that kind of global warming, And then we have a very fine products now. So, yeah, climate change is very important. And then I don't say anything, talking about the, I should not say neglect that. No, that is very important. But we should not be afraid of that kind of things, our technology should be able to overcome that kind of problems.
Because of faithfulness, we don't need so much fear.
Yeah, we can work on it. If we become lazy, then we have a big problem. Yeah. As long as we work continuously, then it's going to be fine. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
No, I don't have much question. No.
Really?
So far, so much. Thank you.
And usually, you have to just have a lot of questions and make us, just puzzled. Because
we have a much like a long question list for you.
Okay. 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 So yeah, maybe tomorrow we're gonna meet at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then we'll do for 2 hours. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. So so far then it's okay for today's session. And tomorrow we'll do the last two programs from prominent food production growth rate, ODA programs, and it's Brazil, and then the African situation.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you
Okay.
so much
All right.
for
Then
today. Thank you very
that's
much.
for today. Okay. See you tomorrow then.
Later.
All right. Thank you.
See you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.